Hello. Test, test, test. Hello, hello. Oh, Hello, everybody.
Hi, Mona.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Okay, now slowly it is coming. And there we go. I am just...
Mary is in. من بعد ما يصح شو تقولي.
Okay, we had a little bit of an issue here with the registrations, apparently. So I'm getting a lot of texts of people who could not register. So what I'm doing right now, because of that, is I'm trying to go live on Facebook, but it's not letting me. So, okay, we will start anyway. Share. Let's see if it works or not. So I apologize for these. I know one or two of you managed to still get on the call, although the link said it's not going to register you. Okay, now go live. There we go. Now I am here with you and you get my full attention now. So I am very, very happy to see again on the call, and some of you are with me for the very first time. So welcome to another episode, another session of Hypno-Parenting. So I will just talk about 2 minutes because there's still some people coming in, and then I will start. So for the ones who don't know me, my name is Mona Abdelrahim Santu. I'm the owner of Mind Your Power. And we deal a lot. Mind Your Power deals with everything that has to do with your power, like the word already says, like the name already says. And one of the things that we deal a lot with, whether it's with personal development, with people, or with families, or even with corporates, is how to find your strengths and use them and not let anything from the outside affect you negatively. And this is exactly what also hypnoparenting is about. Because oftentimes children are affected a lot by what parents say, what teachers say, what friends say, etc., etc., etc. So a child grows up having all these beliefs from other people, but they're not his own beliefs, but he grows up with these beliefs. And guess what? He starts believing them. Yeah. And when he believes them, he starts acting according to what he believes. So it is really important for us to make sure that the beliefs of a child are positive ones. So for those of you who were with me on the last calls of Hypno-Parenting, I spoke about attention giving a lot. I spoke, last time I spoke about homeschooling a lot. So every time I choose one topic and I focus on that one more. And today I want to actually talk a lot about how to recognize your child, how to speak to your child, how to speak to your 3 or 4 or 5 children in different ways, because they're all unique and they're not the same. So even if you have several children, there is not one parenting style. And for these of you who say, well, what do I do and how do I do it? There is not one way. Sorry, I cannot tell you that, because it depends on you, it depends on the environment, and it depends largely on your child. Who is your child? So let me tell you a little bit about how this all came about and why it's called hypno-parenting. I know a lot of people, as soon as they hear hypno, they're scared and they say, what are you doing? And hypnosis sounds scary to some people. The reason why I called this program that I founded about 5 years ago, Hypno-Parenting, is because I am a hypnotherapist and I deal a lot with subconscious issues. And when I work with clients and we look at where any habit or behavior started, we most of the time go back to the first couple of years of a life. So from the moment that you are in your mother's womb until you're about 6 or 7 years old, you don't have a conscious mind. So it is the subconscious mind is learning and is just absorbing everything that's going around you. Observing, learning, and then absorbing lessons and beliefs, and then you grow up with them. So what I always tend to say is that why it's called hypno-parenting, because you as a parent are hypnotizing your child. You're hypnotizing your child into believing that he's not good enough, or that his brother or sister are better than him, or that he is shy. Even something very, very simple as the fact of saying, oh, my little girl is shy. And that brings me to the first big topic I want to talk about today. That's labeling. We all know what labeling is. We label a lot of people, we label situations, we label ourselves oftentimes. And what it actually does is two things. It gives us that label, so our self-talk will be affected by it, but also others. So let me give you a small example. If your child comes into a new school and it's the first day of school, and you go to the teacher and you say to that teacher, I'm the mother of little Sarah, and Sarah, just be careful with her and be gentle with her. She's very shy and she's very sensitive, and she doesn't like people to talk to her in a loud voice, etc. It's a little bit difficult child, so just be careful with her. You as a parent think that you're doing her a favor, but what you're actually doing is you are putting into the mind of that teacher a label or a picture of that child. Now, how do you think that teacher will deal with the child? Like you deal with a child who is difficult. And I'm going to tell you a study that they did in the States. So they had a group of children, they brought them in, and they divided them into two groups, and they told the teachers, so these children here, really good, straight A students, come from a really good environment, really good home. They listen, they're really good, you'll have fun with them. These children here, a little bit of a problem children, from not broken homes, so just be careful with them. And now they observed the teachers, and guess what happened? When a child from the bad group stood up and said something and made a mistake, the teachers would say, wrong, sit down, you didn't learn enough, you have to study more, wrong. And when a child from the good group stood up, the teachers would say, almost, try again, you're almost there, not bad. So the difference was, just because their perception and their knowledge of that child was different, they actually treated these children differently. Yeah. And this is why labeling is so important, or not to label is so important. So I think I spoke enough now, and we have the people who wanted to come in. So first of all, I want to welcome you, everybody who is on the call now with us here, welcome. And everybody who is on Facebook Live with us, also welcome. Welcome to everybody here. Now, I would like to know, Tamar, hello, and you can put anything in the chat that you want. Please say hello, and tell me also in the chat, how many children do you have? Do you have children at all? What ages are they approximately?
Hello.
Hi. Hello. How are you?
I'm good, thank you for this session. I
Yeah.
found out just now, a few minutes ago, from my friend, actually.
Well, good. You made it. That's flexibility.
Well, I have two boys. One
Yes.
is 8 years old, and the other one is 3 years old.
3 years old. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, so you'll have a lot of fun here. Thank you. I have also Maisa, 2 kids, 9 and 6. Mary, also 2 kids. Okay, so we do have a lot of parents with children here. That's really good. This is what we need. Who else do we have? Eliane, 2 kids, 11 and 15. 11, a boy, 10. So, yeah, these are the ages between, so we have 3 years till about 16, 15. So we have different issues when we're dealing with teenagers. We have slightly different issues than with small children. Tamar, I will just mute you again. I will mute everybody because just so that we don't have some background noises, and then now we're back. So thank you for that. So now the way this will go, I muted everybody. Please type in your questions into the chat box and I will answer them. If you have a very private question to me, please type it in. You can put to me only, and then you can type in your question, and I will make sure, if it's a private question, not to say your name when I answer that question. Okay, so let me then Great. We have Roya, welcome here. I know you were struggling with the login, so I'm glad you made it. I'm glad everybody who was here made it. So let me share a little bit some screens here. I'm not going to share the whole presentation today with you, but just a few screens to tell you a little bit about hypno-parenting first. And then, as I said, today I want to focus on how do we recognize children? How do we actually speak to each and every child in a different way? So hypno-parenting, as I said before, it's because you are hypnotizing your child. And hypno-parenting is actually based on emotional intelligence. So for all of you who know what emotional intelligence is, it is 2 parts. First of all, you really have to know yourself. If you're not aware of how you speak to your child, if you're not aware of how do you behave in front of your child, what's your body language, what do you do, then you cannot change. So it is really about you. And you know, many times I say this, I have a lot of clients who come to me and who say, fix my child. I'm sure some of you can relate to that sometimes. I'm a mother of 3, but my children are not children anymore. They're all adults by now. But I remember times where I just said, oh, what shall I do, you know? And so sometimes parents come and just say, fix my child. And I always revert back to the parent and say, you know what, let's start with you. Because it is how you connect to your child, how your child sees you, how you behave in front of your child, that affects your child most. Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about school and friends. This also affects your child. You're not the only one. However, you are a major part. You are you play a very, very big role in the education and in the well-being of your child. So a big part is really to be aware of yourself. The other big part is, of course, being aware of your child, being aware of what suits him, what doesn't suit him, what does he like. Because like we have our own preferences and personalities, the children also have theirs. The other big thing that we speak about hypno-parenting, and that's, you know, the word hypno here. So I was speaking a little bit about hypnosis earlier, for those of you who caught that, and I told you that a child between 0 and 5 or 6 years old doesn't have a conscious mind yet. So they learn How? They don't learn through thinking and analyzing. They learn through feeling and imagining. Everything that has to do with the subconscious mind is imagination. Yeah? So I'd like you now, before we start, to just for a moment, close your eyes. Just close your eyes and imagine a situation in the past. Imagine a situation that was not very nice. Just a small argument you had, or something that wasn't very, very pleasant. And just feel yourself there, see yourself there, look around, listen to what was said, and feel what you felt. And again now, come back, open your eyes, come back, and please let me know, what are the things that you experienced? What are the things that you experienced? What kind of emotions did you have? What did you feel? Can you just type it into the chat box? My chat box disappeared. Something is wrong today. I'm very sorry for that. Let me just go back here. I'm back. Something is really wrong today. Okay, so how healthy is it that I was working the whole phase in Corona? Okay, I will take questions later on. Roya, unpleasant feeling, annoyed, feeling anxious, feeling angry, frustrated, feeling anxiety, urge to express. Okay, you know what? Let me just very, very, very quickly take you back to something else. So close your eyes one more time. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath, and now allow yourself to go back to a wonderful, wonderful feeling, to a wonderful memory, to a place where you felt so happy, so relaxed, a place where you really felt a wonderful moment in your life. And again, look around and see who's with you. Listen to what was said. And again, feel what you felt. And look at all the details. Listen to every wonderful experience that you had. Feel these feelings and then open your eyes again and come back again. And now, tell me, was there a difference between the first time and the second time? Happy, connected, grateful, yeah? What else? Yeah? So we had a difference. Did everybody experience that difference? Did you see how just by being in a good or a bad situation? Any other comments? Did you also feel it in your body somehow? Sometimes when we feel anxious, we have like butterflies in our stomach. Sometimes we have a beating heart. Sometimes we sweat. Tamar, proud and having a unique moment. Yeah. So the point was here that I wanted to show you is when we imagine, this is more powerful than reality. So none of you went back neither to the bad situation nor to the good situation. However, your body, your reactions, your feelings, your mood changed within 1 minute. That was so fast. Because like Albert Einstein said, logic will take you from A to B, but imagination will take you everywhere. And when we imagine, that imagination is actually affecting our being right now. And many, many people, we know it as adults, we tend to either live in the past or live in the future, and that's affecting our now. But guess what? A child lives in imagination all the time. A child is in that state of unconscious or subconscious all the time because they, at least till the ages 5, 6, 7, because they don't have that conscious mind yet. So observe your children when they're playing. And, you know, I only had boys, but, you know, when boys play Superman, oh my God, they are Superman in that moment, yeah? And if you have girls, I'm sure if they play, I see girls playing princess and, you know, you know, these really Barbie or whatever princess they are. They really feel it in that moment. They are living it in that moment, yeah? So their imagination is way more powerful than we think a lot of times. And because they are in that state, because they are in that state of the subconscious mind, every single word we say to them will stick, I call it. Every single word that you say when someone is in an emotional state is hypnosis. So what we do in a session of hypnosis is we take the people into that world of imagination, we let them just imagine things, and then we start giving them positive suggestions. Well, your child is in that state of imagining things, your child is in a state of feelings and emotions, and then you suggest things to them. And the words that you say are really, really crucial. If you say positive words, they will come in. If you say negative words, they will also sink into their subconscious and affect them. Yeah. So if you say this conscious and subconscious mind here again, this is just to show you that in the subconscious mind, we store the fears, the feelings, the phobias, all the sensations and the feelings. So I like to say when we feel, we don't think, and when we think, we don't feel. What does that mean? As soon as I'm emotional, as soon as I feel, and when I say emotional, I don't mean negative. It can also be a very, very positive emotion. When I'm ecstatic about something, when I'm totally in love, when I'm totally happy about something, I don't think clearly. Yeah. When I'm very much in shock or fear, also, I don't think clearly. And the opposite is also true. Yeah. So as soon as we are emotional, yeah, we are allowing suggestions in. And let me go back to that picture. What do you say if your child comes home and has, you know, hurt his knee, for example? There are many options. Yeah, there would be the people who say, "Oh my God, let me put something on it," or let's go to the doctor because we need to stitch it if it's a little bit more open than on this picture. Or you might say, "Is it hurting a lot?" So if I ask a mind, "Is it hurting?" our mind will look for the hurt, will look for the pain, and then it will probably hurt. Then you have the other option of saying, "Mommy will blow on it and kiss it, and everything is good." And you know, you could go on YouTube and there are so many videos that actually prove that yes, the child in this moment will just smile and everything will be forgotten. Yeah. But then there is a third option. How many parents say, "I told you not to jump on there. I told you you will fall down. Why do you never listen to me? You have to pay more attention." So that's that third option of telling the child, "You're not okay. What you're doing is not good." That's putting pressure, blame on that child, and actually telling that child, "You are not okay." So we want to talk to children in a positive way, especially when they are having any emotional states. Yeah. Does that make sense to everybody till now? Any questions here? I know there was a question earlier, and let me just go back to that. How healthy is it that I was working the whole phase during Corona? He was staying with my mom, which is not the healthiest atmosphere. I spent quality time with him only on Saturdays and Sundays. Some days in midweek, he sleeps without me. How bad is that? I'm coming exhausted and I can't connect midweek. Every environment the child is in is affecting him. So if you say you cannot spend a lot of time with your child and he's staying with your mom, of course everything around her will affect him. All you can do, and this is my only suggestion to you, is the time that you spend with him, make up for it. And when I say make up for it, it's not, overbearing him with gifts or doing something like that. It is just spending quality time with him and showing that child that you are there for him, that you are connecting with him at that time. So you cannot change when the children are with your parents, with their grandparents, or etc. You cannot change that. But what you can do is spend the time that you spend with them as a quality time. Yeah. Does that answer your question a little bit? Okay, so now let me go to, and I will just stop my screen here again for a moment and then go back to you. Okay, so let me go back to now what I said earlier. It is about you. It is really about that self-awareness. How do you speak to your child? What words do you use with him? And what words do you use in front of him? What words do you use about him when you speak to someone else on the phone, for example? If you speak to your mom or to your friends on the phone or to your husband at night, when he comes, or a wife, how do you speak in front of the child? Not necessarily only about him, but also about things that happened. Children want or like their parents to be happy. Every child will react more calmly if he knows that my environment is okay. Now, the earlier you go, the younger a child is, the less they will actually notice or know what's happening. They notice, but they don't know, okay? So they do sense, but they're not aware of what exactly is happening. And I have many, many parents who say to me, no, we don't argue in front of the children, or we don't really tell them what's going on. We don't tell them that, now I lost my job in that crisis, or we don't have enough money, or we don't do that in front of the children. But guess what? The child senses that. So let me share with you a short story of a woman who came to me because her daughter, who was at that time about 8 or 9, this is about 2 years ago, did not connect with her. Her daughter was retracting more and more and going into her room, not talking to her mom anymore. She was on the computer a lot. Her mom didn't know what she was doing. She was in her room a lot. So again, like I said before, the mom came and said, you need to do something with my daughter. And before doing that, I said, let's just talk to you a little bit. What's going on in your life? And it turned out that the mother just got divorced. And she was now a single mom. She was taking care. She wasn't getting any financial help from her husband. And she was a little bit scared or worried about that whole situation, how she would handle that. And that situation was clearly in her face. We cannot hide things, even if we pretend to. Sometimes people who know us very well will say, something is wrong with you. Even if we try to hide it. And guess what? Children, especially small children, they still have that connection. They still have that sixth sense, which we sometimes lose as we grow older, but children do have it. So that child, that poor little girl, all she was seeing was a mother who was frowning, who was crying at night, who was anxious, who was clearly sad, but who was not saying anything to the child because she said, no, I don't want to bother, I don't want to put all my stress on the children. However, the daughter saw that. And now put yourself in that child. Put yourself in the position of that child who just sees something is wrong. Something is really, really wrong. Mommy is crying at night. Mommy is worried, but I don't know why, and I cannot help. And if a child sees that, they don't know how to deal with it. They have no idea how to handle that situation. So what I did with that mother is I started working with her, and I gave her one of the advice. I don't like to give advice so much, but there is one advice that I love sharing, and it's be selfish. Be selfish. Start with you. Start by taking care of yourself so that you can then give to others. So it turned out she was really worried, but she was handling it really well. She had a good job and she was working. And so she started doing things for herself. She always wanted to go back to the gym. So she said, okay, let me go to the gym. And she did. She started being more aware of her body language, her facial expressions. She also started going out again a little bit with her friends, just going out to have dinner or something, not to talk about her problems, but to go out to enjoy. And guess what happened? Within a couple of weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, that child came out of her room, went back to her mom, started talking to her again, started sharing again, started wanting to be next to her. Why? Because we like the company of someone who's positive. Think about yourselves. Are you happier with people who are negative, or are you happier with people who are positive? We all like to be around people who are positive, and your children are exactly the same. Yeah. So a big tip and a big advice: start with yourself. Do things that make you happy. Get up in the morning and get dressed and put up makeup if you like to. Do things that, go out for a walk in the morning if this is what you like to do, or go to the gym. When you feel happy, you will project that happiness all around you. Not only on your children, by the way, also on your husbands or wives, right? Big tip here. So start with yourself. And so let me do something that probably some of you who were on my previous calls already did, but I like to do that. So I'd like you now to just close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you are your child. If you have several children, just choose one. Just imagine you are your child and it's morning and you're still in bed and it might be time to get up, either because you go back to school or because it's homeschooling or whatever it is. So imagine now being able to look through the eyes of your child. Imagine being able to listen through the ears of your child. What are you seeing? What's going on around you? Can you see your mom, your dad? What is it that you can hear? And how do you feel? And now, I'd like you to go through your entire day. Go through the day, seeing yourself through the eyes of that child. Maybe after coming back from school, afternoon, all the way until you reach that nighttime. And then open your eyes again and come back here. Any comments from anyone? This is usually a really powerful exercise. And if you haven't done it before, just do it over and over. You could maybe do it every once in a while, just to really be aware of how does your child actually perceive you? How does your child see you? Any comments here? Anyone who had an insight or aha moment? You know, sometimes we don't realize what's going on in the household. Sometimes we don't realize that maybe we raise our voices a lot. Yeah, maybe we're arguing a lot. Maybe we don't have any eye contact and we just rush through the day and rush through the house doing whatever we need to do, but don't look at the child. Don't take the time to actually be there with them, present with them. So I invite you to do this every once in a while, really seeing yourself from the eyes of the child. That is really the big self-awareness that you need, because only if you are aware of yourself can you change yourself. Okay, any questions to now? Well, we don't have any questions. Then I will move on to, and this is what I wanted to talk a little bit more about today, the styles of a child. So, okay, so we spoke about, you know, how are you, that self-awareness, but now let's look a little bit at the child. Like we have different personalities, children have different personalities, yeah? And what I'm gonna do now with you is I'm gonna do a small little, kind of a test. So think about two axes here that you have. You have on one side, you have, if you look at the axis at your, oops, there we go, and share. Okay, can you see my screen again? Yeah, can I see it then? Can you see my screen? Okay, perfect. So let's look at that for a moment and see how parents could communicate and what it means for children. So after we look at ourselves and we know ourselves, now let's look a little bit at the children, but also actually at yourselves here. So if we look at these two axes, we have on the vertical one, we speak about how are you more focused on tasks? Are you more focused on reading? Are you more focused on books? Are you more focused on schools or on tasks? Or on the lower side, are you more focused on people and fun? Yeah. So if you look at yourself also, and you can also translate this into work. Are you more task-oriented or people-oriented? When you talk to someone, if you're more focused and task-oriented, you will look at the task at hand when you speak to some people. However, when you are more people-oriented, you will look at the people more, you'll have more eye contact, you'll have maybe more hand movements, yeah? You'll be much more in touch with that person than if you're focused task-oriented. Now let's look at the horizontal axis. We have on the left side, we have people who are more quiet and more calm, and on the right side we have the loud and you know, people who are a little bit more shouting sometimes. So the loud people would say, "Hey, I want this now." You know, a loud child would say, "Mommy, I want to eat." Yeah. The calm side would say, "Mommy, can I please have something to eat?" So the voice will be lower. They will ask more than they will state, yeah? And the same thing is for you also. Are you someone who asks more or who commands more? Are you someone who says, "Could you please arrange your things now?" Or do you say to the children, 5 minutes, in 5 minutes, the room is clean. What is your style? Okay, so let's put this together. And as you can see here, some of you might be aware, you know, if you do a lot of workshops at work, you might be aware of the DISC model, DISC, which is very similar. You might also have seen these animal styles. Sometimes you can see a dog instead of the dolphin, but you might have seen them. There are also another test with colors. Whatever you do, I like to use that because it's very descriptive. So if you take someone who's very task-oriented and loud, yeah, they would be the lions or the panthers. So, lion sees his prey, wants to catch that prey, goes for it. Regardless of if there are things in the way, I just want to get to my goal. I want that goal, I need that goal, this is a task I want to accomplish, and I just go for it. For the lions, or the panthers, they are very fast, usually they can be very, very aggressive, and they really, really want to reach the results. They don't care about people. They're not very patient, and they're not very good people. That means they don't listen a lot. Let's move on to stay up on the task side, and let's move on to the owls. So people who are very task-oriented, but also very quiet and calm, these would be the owls. So, you know, how is an owl? How would you perceive an owl? Owls are usually very detail-oriented. They observe a lot. So owls would be the children who sit in front of a puzzle for an hour to finish it. Yeah. If you are an owl, you tend to, if you pack, for example, for a vacation, or you pack the lunchbox of your child, you make sure that there is an apple, there is something, a snack, there is a sandwich, you know, you make sure that there is everything there. You make your lists when you go shopping. You would have your list, you go there, you make sure that you don't forget anything, yeah? Whereas going back to the lion or the panther, they just go in, get what I need, and go out again. Let's go back, let's go down now to the fun side, to the people side, to the people who want more interaction with people. And if we stay on the calm and quiet side, we can see dolphins. Now, if we think of dolphins, they're fun, they want to play, they like to help. Don't we always hear of, you know, when someone is injured in the water, the dolphin swims up to them and helps them? Now, do you see dolphins in groups or alone? Alone or in groups? Groups, right? Always together, yes, absolutely. Whereas the owls are always alone somewhere, yeah? So the dolphin is someone who likes harmony. They like to play. They like to be surrounded by their family. They like to help people. And then if we go to the loud and fun side, yeah, to the people who are people-oriented, but loud and very, they're good networkers, socializers, these would be the peacocks, yeah? I have an idea and I want to do that. So these would be the children who always are kind of the leaders in their class, yeah, who say, come on, let's play this and let's do that, and no, let's not play this again, let's play something else. They tend to get bored very quickly because they're so colorful, they have so many ideas, yeah, so they tend to do this and that. If you, as an adult, are an owl personality, you also will get bored easily, and you will be a very multitasking woman or man, yeah? You'll have, these would be the people who go to the supermarket and get a whole cart full of things because you can't make up your mind. Do I want this or that or the other? And then I take everything because they like variety. They get bored very, very easily. Does that all make sense to you, these 4 quadrants here? Can I just have some comments here in the chat? If this is okay, if it makes sense to everybody, then I'll move on. Yes, okay, yes. Okay, thank you. So let's, perfectly clear. Thank you, Roya. So let's go to, there is to how children would look, yeah? So if I look at the children's styles, if we look at the fun-loving child, that would be, what would the fun-loving child be? Which one? What do you think? Danielle Dolphin, Roya Peacock, Eliane Dolphin. It is the peacock. The peacock, yeah? Fun-loving, always social, wants fun, wants to play around, yeah? So the fun-loving child would really be, and let's look at here some of the things that are said there. The primary connection to the word is social, yeah? Which, yes, makes sense. Like you said, dolphin also have that. They want that social environment. They like people, yeah? But here we're talking really about the peacock. The primary movement is bouncy and random, okay? So when you see them, they're like, oh, let's do this, and then they jump around. And when you see small children, very, very bouncy, yeah? Their primary need is to have fun and to have happy parents. There it is again. There is, again, how important it is for you to be happy, because they like to have fun. They like to have fun-filled action with their parents. They're often described as friendly, bright, and lighthearted. And they're often judged as flighty, hyperactive, and unreliable. Yeah? We have a question here. Are the kids born with it, or they grow up depending on the house atmosphere? There is a part of that and a part of that. So we all have a kind of a personality style. We could be a little bit more calm, a little bit more, you know, bouncy or loud. However, also the environment does affect us. And these, I don't know if you were there at the beginning, Roya, with us. I was talking about labels at the beginning, and this is really important. How do you label a child? And if you label them too much into one direction, yeah, for example, let's go to the second one, the sensitive child. And this is what I was saying at the beginning. If you say too much, oh, my child is so sensitive, or every time something happens, don't be so sensitive. Oh, come on, why do you always cry? This will make the child believe that he is like this, because this will become his self-taught identity, yeah? So let's go to the sensitive child and look a little bit about at that one. The primary connection is the emotional, yeah? So they are very emotional. And here we go to the, this would be the dolphin, yeah? In the case of, if we compare it to the other chart that we had, yeah? They're very emotional and they need emotions. These will be really the children who see exactly, they look at you and they say, Mommy, why are you, what's wrong? They can sense everything. Yeah, they're very, very much connected to you. The primary movement is very subtle and thoughtful. Yeah, not very bouncy like the others, very calm, thoughtful. Their primary need is get their feelings and being heard and being connected with the family. So for these children, it is, for example, really important to, for example, have a good family dinner, sit together, share things. Yeah, they love that. They need that. They're often described as gentle, tender, and mindful. And they're often judged as, like I said at the beginning, shy, hypersensitive. Yeah. So be careful here what you say. Danielle, try not to say indirectly, talking to someone about the child while the child is around, indirect labeling. Exactly, that's what we're saying at the beginning. So how do you speak even in front of, how do you speak to your mom or to a friend on the phone? I think you came in a bit later, Danielle. Yeah, so really important, what do you say? And but here's the sensitive child. So when you know that a child needs that more, yeah, you can give them more that connection. I'll get into more details and examples later on to see how you can use that really, really, really well. The determined child would be what? The lion, yeah, the panther. That's the determined child. They want something, they want to go for it. They're usually very physical. They are very active children, very active and determined, yeah. they want to finish something, whereas if you go back to the fun-loving child, they're very bouncy. So they do something, then they do something else. These, no, they finish and then they do the next one, but they are physical. Their primary need are new experiences. So they love, you know, with them go, I don't know, bungee jumping and things like that that are really exciting to them. But they want, so they always need something new to do because they need new goals. They love goals. They have, they are very goal oriented, so they need a goal to achieve. Yeah, they're often described as busy, persistent, and energetic, often sometimes even aggressive, and they're and judged as pushy, demanding, loud, and like I just said, aggressive. And let's just get to the last one, the more serious child, which would be in the other categories of you, would be an owl. For the owl, very intellectual. Like I said before, these would be the children who read books a lot and who are very, very, very patient. Yeah, they're very patient. They would sit there and make sure that they read everything. An owl does not like to make mistakes. Yeah, so they would sit in front of that game or puzzle until it is finished and make sure that it's all correct. They are very they feel very bad if you tell them that they made a mistake, because for them, that's what they do, what they like. If you compare it to yourself, if we would take that into the adult world, here we see a lot of perfectionists sometimes, yeah. Sometimes very slow, but not slow because they are slow, and that's where you really need to pay attention. I'll give a good example later on. They're not slow because they are slow or less intelligent. They're just slow because that is how they process information. Their primary movement is straightforward, exact. They need to gather all into first. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they're very exact, very precise, very detail oriented. Yeah. When you explain something to them, you need to give them some details. They're often described as efficient, analytical, and thorough, and sometimes judged as critical or know-it-all. Yeah. Or like in the modern language, it would be nerds in school. Yeah. So how do we take this now into, I will stop that again. How do we take this now into your world, and how do we work with that? How do we deal with that? So let me give you a couple of examples. If you have 3 children and you're about to go to a whatever, to the mall, let's say, okay? And you have a dolphin, you have a peacock, and you have an owl as a child. Now, if you say to them, come on, we're get ready, we're leaving in 10 minutes. What will happen within these 10 minutes? The peacock, within these 10 minutes, might get dressed 3 times because they change their minds and, no, I want to wear that. No, I want the red bow in my hair. No, the yellow bow looks better with my yellow dress, because the peacock is very conscious of their looks also, right? So they are very, they will change a lot of times, yeah? The dolphin will get ready, will look at you, will make sure that they're okay with you. And what goes on in the mind of an owl? In these 10 minutes, we'll say, okay, we're going to the mall. We're staying there for about 2 hours, because if mommy wants to go shopping and then she wants to go to the whole mall, then it's at least 2 hours. So what shall I dress to go there? When are we coming back? When we come back, what do I still have to do later on? So there is a whole list of stuff happening in their minds. So sometimes 10 minutes can be not enough for them to get ready. So again, talking about communication, if you have 3 different children, you will talk differently with them. Because what tends to happen? 10 minutes later, you're at the door and 2 of your children are ready and 1 is not. The owl is not. So what do you say? Why do you always have to be late? Why do I always have to wait for you? You're always the last one. Look at your brothers and sisters. They're all ready. You are not ready yet. So in that moment, what am I actually saying to that child in that moment? I'm telling him, you're not as good as your brothers or sisters. I'm telling him, you're slow. I'm telling him, you're not okay. Yeah? You're not doing the things that others are able to do. You're not capable of doing them. So in that moment, what am I doing to the self-confidence of the child? Going down. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So it is really important to make sure that if I have a now, that I give him that information maybe half an hour early. Whatever, you know, you can judge your child, how long do they need. Now, then don't fall into that trap of saying, okay, so then I'll just tell them 20 minutes earlier. Because then what will happen? The panther or the lion will be ready after 5 or 10 minutes. And then he'll get like, Mommy, come on, you said we'll be going. Why are we not going? So he'll be aggressive. He'll be a little bit short with you, and he will have some problems. So what will happen then? You'll say, come on, just you know, do something else. Why are you always shouting? Why are you always so impatient? So again, what am I telling him? That he's impatient. Yeah, and we can go on and on and on. So for every single child, there is a different way and a different approach. And your role as a mother or a father is not putting them all into one basket, but treating each and every one individually according to how they need it. Because you also want to be treated according to how you need it. Yeah. So there is not one solution of how to educate children. Yeah, child education cannot be read in a book. Child education comes from reading your children, not a book. Yeah, so look at your children, read them, understand them, and understand what do they need. I'm going to give you another example and that's a teenager who was going through a rough period in his life after school. So he got into drugs, and after school he went to the US to study. Now, he was totally overwhelmed. It was very hard. He went to an Ivy League university, and it was way too hard for him. And he got even more into drugs, and then he came back to his home country. When he came back, he went through some rehabilitation, and then I started working with him hypnotherapy-wise. Now, his mother was all over him because she wanted him to do something again. She wanted him to go back to university. He was in another world. So my point was, at one point I did a family coaching, and I got this, I did that test with them. And when they filled out the questions and the test, it turned out that the mother was a panther and the boy was a dolphin. Now, there was another issue here, that the father was also a dolphin. And mother and father were going through kind of a divorce. So they were not talking. There was no family community. There was no harmony. So imagine now that boy who was a dolphin, a pure dolphin, very calm, very, very, I would say sensitive, because not sensitive in labeling, but he was very attached to he sensed emotions. Yeah. So he was sensing the environment and home that was very, very hostile. He didn't have any help, neither from his mom nor from his dad, because they were just, busy solving their issues. And he didn't have any support, which a dolphin definitely needs. Now, the problem was that the mother was a lion, and she wanted him to go back to university, and she was putting even more pressure on him by saying, you have to do something, you have to do something, you need to work or study again, so that your mind you will have other ideas, and you'll get off whatever your mind is on. Now, what she didn't understand is that in that moment, a dolphin doesn't like pressure and cannot handle pressure. Not only doesn't like it, they cannot handle pressure, because they need support and harmony in order to function. If they have pressure, they don't function. Yeah. So just by doing that, and by realizing that, and by speaking to the individuals, we worked on the boy just getting because all his friends were abroad, all his friends were studying, and what he really needed was a social environment. What he really needed were friends again. He needed to get in touch with people. He needed to build up a new social circle where he felt accepted, where he felt supported, and then he could move on to study. Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah, can I just see some thumbs? Yeah, okay, perfect. Some thumb up, yeah. So this is why it is so important to learn about the different styles, because you need to treat them in their way. Okay, yep, I see thumbs up. So now, think about your children. If you have several, think about, are they more a peacock style? Are they more an owl style? What are they? Yeah. And here are just some tips of what to do and what not to do with the individual styles. So if you have a dolphin, be a little bit more, lower your voice. We call it just building rapport with that child. And rapport building is nothing else than being like the child, because if you talk to them like in their style, they will be more relaxed than if you are totally different than them and they have to understand you. It's your responsibility as an adult to understand them, not the other way around, yeah? So understand them. If they're more calm, talk to them in a calm voice. If you have, and I'll just go back to that slide one more time so that you can really see that one more again. Yeah. If you have that sensitive child here, yeah, and you know they need that connection, they need that thoughtful connection, sit with them more. Talk to them in a lower voice, like I said. Share more family time with them. Yeah? Don't put them under pressure. Give them support. So talk to them about, let's say they come home from school. Don't ask the first thing, how did your exam go? Did you do well? What did the teacher say? Yeah? But start by saying, what did you do today and how are your friends? And just talk to him. Also make sure that you have that eye contact, that you have that feeling, touchy connection with that child. And then you can go on to asking them about how school was. But always make sure that you first have that connection there, that rapport. When they come in from school, come home from school, they come home from playing or come to you, the first thing they see and notice, they're very, very, very sensing of your emotions and your mood. So they will see your facial expression. They will see, how do you feel? And then you can start talking to them. So make sure that your facial expression is happy one, and more important than just happy, a supporting one. The fun-loving child, yeah? they will come home and be all bouncy and all around, this happened today and that happened, and and can I go to my friend, and later on, and this one is coming over today, and what are we eating, and everything at once. Yeah. So let them talk, let them bubble. They like that. They like to be the center of attention. They like to speak. They like to tell you what happens. Again, with them, they are on the people side. Give them that attention. Look at them and give them the sense of pride. Give them a sense of recognition. Yeah, say, wow, you did that. Yeah, they feel good with that. Every time they say something, let them feel that, yeah, wow, nice. Yeah, give them that feeling. Don't bore them with details. They really, really get bored a lot. They're many times they're big picture people. They're not detail persons. Yeah, so if you want to do something, just tell them what's going to happen, and that's it. That's enough for them. Don't give them too many details. If you have a determined child who comes home from school, they have goals. They want to do things and they want to do it straight away. So here, certainly don't ask them, so your friend yesterday who you had an argument with, what happened today? Did you get along today, or did the teacher say something? That's again too much personal information being shared. They come in, they want something, they want to do it. Yeah, so sorry. So go with it. They are they don't like to just waste time doing something. They need action. Yeah. And for the more serious child, what you should do, and for the determined child, sorry, just let me get back. For them, it's not so important that you are really touchy with them, rather than that you look at their results. Yeah. So for this child, rather than talking about how did you feel at school and how was school and how was it with your friends, look at the results. Yeah, you got an A or a B or a C or a D, whatever it is. Yeah, don't and I'll talk about grades a little bit later, but focus more on that, because they are results driven. And now for the more serious child, go into details. Take your time. Know that that child wants to tell you not, yeah, the exam was good or the day was good. No, he wants to tell you, we had in the first lesson, Miss Mary was sick today, so we had this other teacher that I like so much, you remember? Miss Huda, who came to us last year. So they will tell you stories and exact details of what happened then, and then what happened, and then what happened. So listen to them in detail, yeah? Because they thrive on details. They love to do that. Yeah. So I hope that was really useful for you. I wanted to focus on that a little bit today, because I didn't speak about that too much in the last couple of sessions. And like I said at the beginning, I like to vary a little bit, so the people who are with me on every call get a little bit of everything. So any questions to that? Any questions? I will answer every question that you have about your children, anything. Just put it into the chat. So let me just talk very briefly about, because I mentioned the A's, the B's, and the C's. Yeah. To motivate a child, we need to motivate them according to their strength and not according to their weaknesses. And so a lot of times, and this is something that is really typical, I come home and I show my mother my report card or my exam, and it says, look mommy, I have an A and a B and an A and an A plus and a B minus and a D. Mona, why do you have a D? And I say, well, but mommy, look, I have an A and a B minus. I have all of these. I know you have all of these, and you should have all of these, but the D is not acceptable. You are not having a D. You're grounded, no iPad for today, whatever, and we start punishing. Does that sound familiar to some of you? Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. So, yeah. And if you want to say something, you know, like you can also send me private messages. I will answer them later on, or answer them privately if this is something that you don't want everybody to hear. Yeah, so we hear this a lot. So what happens is that that child will be totally demotivated, because in his mind, I did all of that. I studied for math and English and science, and now all she's looking at is that, you know, great that I have an Arabic. Yeah, it is very demotivating for a child. So again, don't focus on that. Earlier when I started, I told you about the study of teachers. Let me tell you another study that they did with children. So they took a group of children that were average, and they told their parents, they instructed their parents not to overreact to bad grades. And the children came home and with their report cards like I just showed you, but this time the parents said, oh, you have 3 A's. Wow, that's really great. Yeah. They didn't really focus on that negative grade. And what happened is the following. After half a year, 1 semester, I think it was about 79 or something like that % of children had increased their bad grade by 2. So if they had a D, they had a B. If they had a C, they had an A. That's how powerful it is to motivate them with what they can do. Yeah, and think about it yourself. If you really, really give your best at work, think about work. You give your best. You do overtime. Yeah, you have a whole report written. You hand it in, and your boss says, Mona, there is a small mistake on page 10. I wrote 47 pages, and there you go, showing me that one mistake on page 10. How do you feel? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying ignore totally the D's or the E's. Talk about them, but don't dwell on them. Don't focus on them. Focus on the positives. Every single child is born with intelligence. Yeah, and I'm not talking about, you know, disabled because of some, you know, physical disabilities. I'm talking about every child who is born with a brain and a body has an intelligence and has the same capabilities as anyone else. The only thing that will make them go below average is their belief about themselves. There were some questions here. What if someone has both? What if there's a mix of peacock and dolphin, for example? Yeah, of course we can have mixes. Even we as adults, we are a mix, and there are people who have a bit of everything. And then also we can change, like I said before, we're not born into that personality set and we stay that, yeah? So if it's a mix of peacock and dolphin, that means he's definitely more on the people side than on the task side, yeah? If it's a mix of peacock and lion, then he's definitely on the loud side and on the low side. If it's a mix of owl and dolphin, then he's definitely a little bit lower. So just lower your voice when you talk to them, yeah? So just see where the mix is. How do you treat also a sensitive child who's loud? Oh, if a sensitive child is loud, that means he is not capable of really living his style, his sensitivity, and maybe there is something else that is bubbling beneath the surface. Maybe there is some anger or something that is below the surface. But then again, you know, are you labeling him as a sensitive child and maybe he's not? Maybe he is, maybe you're seeing him differently, you know? It's really about understanding that child and understanding why is he doing that. And it can have many, 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 many reasons. reasons. Yeah, many reasons. And you know, if you go into then the reasons why it happened, you know, a hypnotherapist could help you there. Then you will be able to find out the reason. But you know, mainly I want to say two things. Either you are labeling him wrongly and seeing him wrongly, or not, and misunderstanding how he really is, or there is something deep inside of him that he's not able to express properly, so it's bubbling up. Like I said, it's just coming up. And a lot of times this is what happens, and I think I do have, I have a couple of minutes left, so I will touch on that subject in a moment. I just want to finish the other one. Yeah. So I will touch on how things that are kept inside, how we react to them. Danielle, too much emotions, not be able to verbalize. Exactly, right? When they're inside of you, they will explode out at a certain point. Yeah, I think I have all the questions here. I'm sorry if I have all of them. Okay, so let me come now to that very quickly, to what I was just saying. So if things are kept inside, words are energy, thoughts are energy, everything that we keep inside and we're not capable of really letting out will at some point explode. Yeah, think about a cooker, a pressure cooker, and you have everything inside. Yeah, it would at one point explode. Or a bucket of water, if you keep putting in and it will flow over. So it's the same thing with the children. So it is not important for the person to speak to whoever did something with him in school, but let the child speak about what happened. Because the older they grow, the more whatever happened will develop and develop and develop, and then at one point they will be adults, and then they will come to a hypnotherapist like me and say, oh, I have this problem and I don't know where it started. Yeah. And that's why allow the children to let these feelings out. Allow them to cry if they need to cry. Allow them to shout if they need to shout. Allow them to imagine. And now let's go back to that imagination that I was talking about at the beginning. Allow them to imagine that they are telling that boy in school what they were not able to tell him in school. And let them imagine him right there and let them speak to him. Because as soon as the words are said, as soon as they are freed out of the body, they will feel better again. And this will not be stuck in them, because they will feel that they did something. They will feel that they said something. Think about it yourself. When you have sometimes issues or arguments with people, and then you speak about it, don't you feel better? Yeah? Yeah? We feel better sometimes just by letting it out, just by speaking, just by saying something. Yeah. So the same applies to children. Let them speak. Let them and I always, I don't know who of you, works with energy, but just allow this energy, these words that are inside of you. Words are energy. Feelings are energy. Emotions are energy. If they are stuck inside of your body, they will work inside of your body, and they will manifest as, either on your face, facial expressions of anger. They will manifest as, exactly what you were saying. Yeah, sensitive but loud, because I don't know how to deal with that. They can also manifest as a disease, because we know that emotions also affect our body and our health. Yeah. So allow them to speak, allow them to talk. So the way I usually, you know, one tip that I could say, ask them if they say, yeah, this happened and this, you know, I was so angry because this and this happened. Tell them, okay, don't ask them a million times what happened and what did you say and what did he say and then what did he respond and why did you do this and why didn't you do that, yeah? Because all you're doing is you're recreating that imagination, and we know that an imagination is more powerful than reality, and we know that every time we are recreating that story inside of us, we are actually reinforcing that story. So instead of it getting better, it gets worse. Why? Because we're reinforcing that that was unfair and that was a mean boy, and you know, we're keeping reinforcing that. So don't do that. Instead of asking him over and over and what happened, ask them, what would you like to have done? So if that would happen again in the future, what would you say? What would you do? How would you react? And then watch them. They will sit and think and imagine. And that imagination is so powerful. That is hypnosis. Yeah? So they will imagine how in the future they will say, I will go up to him and tell him da 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 da. So then you can encourage them. Okay, so say all of that. Yeah, play, role play that, pretend play. Children love, especially if they are younger children, they love to play pretend, you know. Oh, I'm the mommy now and you're the teacher and you're the child. So they love to play that. So allow them to play, to role play, to pretend that situation. And now not only will they imagine it and let these words out, but also they will feel empowered because they are coming up with what they should do. Don't tell them what to do. Ask them and let them do it. And this is a big other topic. I spoke about that last time when I spoke about homeschooling, responsibility, independence. This is a very big topic. Don't tell children what they should do. Let them come up with it. Because if they come up with it, first of all, they'll be more willing to do it. And secondly, their confidence will grow because you are showing them that they can come up with a solution to something. As soon as you tell them what to do, you're telling their mind, their subconscious mind, you don't know how to do it, I have to tell you. Yeah. So again, you want their confidence to grow, you want their self-esteem to grow, let them come up with something. And think about it. Who likes to be told what to do? Huh? If I tell you you have to do this now, you'll say, no, I don't want to, right? But if you come up with the idea, you feel proud of it. And then your motivation to actually do what you said you would do is much bigger. Think about it yourself. Yeah. You will probably go for it and push for it much more than if you're told what to do. So don't tell them what to do, ask them what to do. When you ask them, what would you like to do? Allow them to imagine and allow them to role play it. Allow everything out so it doesn't stay inside and then explode at one time. Okay, I guess we're at the end today, and I'll be talking every time about different things. Today I really wanted to focus on these styles, on these different styles, to really make it clear that one child is totally different than the other one, is totally unique. And like I said before, every single child has the ability to do anything. And I can't repeat this enough. The only time a child is limited to what he believes he can do is because these limitations are in his mind, and you or the teacher or friends or TV or grandparents or the society or the village he lives in or whatever have planted these suggestions inside of him and have limited his abilities and beliefs. Otherwise, every child can do anything. So motivate your children by telling them, by focusing on the strength, motivate them by telling them that they are okay, motivate them by telling them that the way they process it is their way, and allow them to do it their way. And you will have you already have wonderful children, but then maybe that's another point. Start seeing them as wonderful children. Change the way you look at them, and they will change. This is a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer originally that says, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at will change. Yeah? But do that with your children. If you see them as lazy, if you see them as losers, if you see them as naughty, change the way you look at them and look for the positives in them. And you'll be surprised how many positives there are. And then, as soon as you start seeing the positives, acknowledge them, tell them about them. This will motivate them to have even more. Any questions for today? Otherwise, I will end the call today. I will be answering everything, even privately. If you did send me a private message or a private question, thank you. For the ones who are on the call, I just wanted to show you one thing. If you would like to attend, so if you're on the call and would like to attend that my next Hypno-Parenting course, then here are the next dates. My course is always 4 weeks long, so it's once a week, 3 hours plus 3.5 hours. And the reason it's once a week, because in between we practice the things that we actually do. It's for moms and dads. The next course will be on the 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th of June from 6 to 9:30 Dubai time. It will be a virtual course, and this is actually the first virtual one that I'm doing. Up to now, I always did it in person. But things are working out really, really well virtually now, so I'm going to do it. It is $350 per couple. So if you would like to go to that registration, just take a picture of that QR code. It will take you straight to the registration page. And if you register because you were on the call today, you will also get additionally to that a personal coaching session for your children. And that's all for today. Thank you very much. You can get in touch with me on Mind Your Power Facebook or Mind Your Power LinkedIn or Instagram. You can also call me. This is my number. You can take a picture of that or a screen share. And if you have any question, please do send me an email. I will answer the emails to you privately and personally if you have emails, if you have any question. Now, if you don't have any questions today anymore here, I would like to thank everybody for being here, everybody for joining the call. Thank you, Tamar. Thank you. Always interesting. I think you shared some important concepts. Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you, Electra. Danielle, I don't understand what you mean by $1 is equal to.
How much is the dollar?
Oh, well, well, for those.
I thought so, on the Lebanese way.
We might have a couple of Lebanese people on the call or in Lebanon. Just send me an email and then I'll clarify that. But for everybody else, I think we have a lot of people from Dubai also on the call. Okay, so thank you everybody for being here, and I hope to see you again soon. There will be a replay on Facebook, and if you are on my mailing list, you will receive the replay of this recording. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Evita. Thank you, Petra. Thank you.